Welcome to the MTD CNC Studios. I'm here with Scott from CG Tech. The idea of this technical corner is to talk about Vericut. Now, there's a system within Vericut called Reports. So could you walk us through what this actually does and how it helps engineers that use Vericut, Scott?
Sure. So when we go to a machine, when we leave the program leaves the CAD/CAM office, the operator needs to set the machine. They need information on this, and this needs to be in digital format these days. It needs to be traceable. And it's not just a list of tools. They may need to take dimensions off the part to be able to go and set the stock in the vise or whatever it may be sufficiently, or the clamps on the table. And all these tools reside within Vericut to be able to do this. So if it's okay, I'm just going to start simulating through and we can get an idea and flavour of what I'm about to do.
Indeed. While you do that, just to let you know that this is a simulation. So with using a Makino machine, it's not necessarily just about one maker machine, is it?
Completely neutral. The machine's really irrelevant. It's about what the information we're capturing from the simulation.
Okay, Scott.
Okay. So what you're going to see is I would just push play as I normally would do in Vericut. And you're going to see what I've done there is taken a snapshot of the first setup. So it says setup 1 on the top right hand corner, and this is going to be embedded into our setup sheet or Vericut report. Okay, so I'm just going to move through and we're going to simulate through. Now as I do this, I'm just going to talk about the benefits slightly. So what we see with our prospects, and indeed some of our existing customers still, is that they're spending far too much time outside of the CAD/CAM system, or Vericut indeed, documenting setup sheets. There's no need to do that within Vericut. All the information is within here. All I'm going to do is use a general template to give you a feel of what we can do, and but all the information is here, resides in Vericut for you to be able to do this.
So this is very much to optimise the process, avoid collisions, making sure the tool paths are correct.
The purpose of the report is to enable the operator to set the machine, not have to leave Vericut to go and do this as a separate document. It's all here for you. So what you've seen here now is that the part's going to be turned over to setup 2, but we may want to check some critical dimensions on the component before we move the component over. Before we take the part out of the vise, we may want to check a few critical dimensions. Before we do that, make sure the part's sufficiently machined before we move over. This is the information you want to give to your operators. Okay, so again, we're at the end of setup 1. I'm going to move through to setup 2 now. And again, I'll make another click. This is the information we need to go and set that part up for setup 2. Move forward again. We play through setup 2, and at the end of this will all be captured into a document. Okay, so that's the inspection plan for setup 2.
And I suppose that to a certain extent is obviously if you're doing repeatable parts, it's all documented within Vericut, and therefore it's the press of a button basically.
And it's digital, yeah. It's to save people spending. I went to a prospect recently, said they spend as much time programming a part as they do creating documentation, sometimes longer, which is just crazy. This is just a few clicks and we're done.
And I think a lot of companies that actually do use software, something with Vericut, is that you've got all the CAD/CAM side there as well. It's not just about the simulation, is it?
No, it's about capturing our whole process in a digital format. So now I've got that information done, I can generate the report. So I just say save. This is in HTML format. It can also be in PDF format. I can put user tags in here, so I can put in the programmer's name, for example. Just say OK. And again, this is configurable to the company. You don't have to have our logo at the top. You can have your company logo at the top. But it's just to give you an idea. This is the first setup. That's how we want it in the vise. A list of tools. An inspection plan. Then we move through to setup 2. Again, where do all my files live? What do I need? The tool summary, and again the inspection plan for tool 2. So all that information can be captured. sufficiently so the operator doesn't need to disturb anyone. They can go and set the machine as they should be able to.
And I suppose a lot of companies that may look at software packages that may not use Vericut, for instance, this is the reason why you should consider optimizing your machining process then, Scott. You've verified the actual part, but if you want to make some changes on the tool, is that an option on Vericut as well?
Well, the customer may want some more detail, some more information on the tool. They may want to know the minimum extension on the bottom of the tool, for example, which you can put into the report if you want to. But you can also annotate the tool and put this into a separate tooling sheet. So within Tool Manager itself, this is a fairly new function in Vericut. We can now take a section through this tool if we want to. But firstly, what I'm going to do is annotate the tool. So we can see just from a single click, we get a full breakdown of the tool. So we can see the minimum reach here is 35mm, which is great. But we want this in a digital format to give to somebody to be able to set this tool up sufficiently. To make that process slightly easier, we may want to take a section through the tool. So what I mean by that, Mark, is if I just take a section, just do an add through all components, and we can see that's a complete section through the tool. And again, we come back here, we annotate so we can see exactly what's going where within that tool breakdown. And again, what we want to do now is be able to give that to someone in a digital format. So we just go to Reports, HTML, just do a save. And we get, again, the full breakdown of the tool.
So really the benefit to the customer is very much about not actually just setting the actual component correctly, but also the tool.
Correct, yeah, that's really important. And you can also put things like tolerances on here. So that tool's got to be 36mm, otherwise you're going to start colliding with the bottom of the holder. Well, it needs to say maybe minimum or plus, minus, or -0 plus 5mm, whatever that may be. And you can do all that.
So really, you're really sort of giving to that customer so that the benefit of exactly what that tool needs to be set up by, the whole process, and therefore your end product's going to be exactly how you've programmed it.
Yeah, exactly that. And that's the whole point of Vericut. It's the right first time, every time. And quite often we have the argument, oh, but Vericut can't do this. Well, if you're using Vericut correctly and you're still colliding machines, then you're doing something wrong. The tools reside within Vericut to be able to go and set that machine as it resides in a digital world. So you get light for light. What exists in Vericut should exist on the machine, and you will have no issues whatsoever with collisions and prove out.
And I think the whole purpose of having these tech tips is very much about making sure that you are utilising Vericut, but also, for those engineers that may not have Vericut but need this type of software, what would be your message to them, Scott?
Just again, I've always said, just don't be frightened to talk to us. If you're interested in any way, just give us a call. We'll come in, show you the product. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But you never know what information you might gain from that.